This is the story of 2001, a James Odyssey, where one man and one penguin travel the galaxy in search of the golden toaster, the cure to all the world's problems. Along the journey, Captain Fluffy McPenguin and servant James Mester experience many extraterrestrial problems and life-threatening situations. Follow along, for the story begins now. The team started their journey at CGopolis, where rumors about the location of the golden toaster had pointed to. Their only obstacle was the ferocious CJ, who stood in the way of the city and would eat anyone, or anything, that came into his path. When they arrived in front of CJ, James quivered with fear, while Fluffy stood strong. After observing CJ consuming a whole person right in front of them, the two realized that they needed to trap CJ to get by. While James was slacking off, Fluffy noticed the conveniently placed trap hovering above the monster. James attempted to shoot the rope that held the trap with his blaster, but because of his clumsiness, he missed the rope. Like usual, Fluffy had to step in and do the real work. Fluffy hit the rope on his first try, and the trap fell on CJ, granting them access to the city. After talking to the townspeople of CGopolis, they learned that the toaster had last been seen in New Fairfield. They headed there with the hope of finding it. The once favorite superhero, Jordan from New Fairfield, had been slacking recently in his duties of protecting the city, and the town had fallen on hard times. Fluffy and James went up to Jordan to ask of the toaster's whereabouts. Because Jordan had recently been inattentive and lackluster, he was completely unaware of any toaster at all. Disappointed, the adventurers set off into the galaxy, and luckily came across the amazingly intelligent and super helpful space trooper, Steve. His partner, Colin, was also there. Steve was very helpful and sent Fluffy and James towards the space-wandering lunatic, Ryan. They came across Ryan floating through space, rambling about protesting against protesters, making tinfoil hats for protection from the NSA, and hoping to get hit by space lightning. This crazy man shouted out all of his sentences, almost popping James's eardrums. He bellowed, "The witch has an itch! The itch is the most! It's made out of toast! She looked for it, you see, but gave up. Where are your hats? They know. NSA! Stop the protest! Bring the lightning!" Although being a lunatic, Ryan also held some vital information. He told James and Fluffy McPenguin about a space witch, Louise, who had once been in search of the toaster. After arriving at the witch's house, they talked with her and found out that the only way to find the toaster's current location was to ask the all-knowing tree at the planet of the trees. So they went to the planet of... They arrived at the planet and were nicely greeted by Josh, the tree keeper, who would let them talk to the all-knowing tree if they could answer his riddle, which read, "I am a part of a tree that protects it like a coat. I am also a sound that a certain animal makes. What am I?" James thought as hard as he could, but couldn't figure it out as hard as he tried. Thankfully, Fluffy came to the rescue, like always, and came up with the answer, which was bark. So Josh let them enter and talk to the omnipotent tree. They asked the tree where the toaster was. It replied that it last knew of the toaster in the kingdom of Ari, where the king Ari ruled his people. When they arrived in his kingdom, Ari offered to make a trade. Desperate to find the toaster in hope of glory and fame, James and Fluffy accepted the trade. However, when they got there, Ari turned on them and tried to shoot them. Luckily, they escaped and found out that Ari never actually had the toaster. It was really at North Samria. North Samria was ruled by the strict and organized leader, Sam. Because James's shabby appearance threatened Sam's organized land, Sam was forced to jail James and Fluffy. When they arrived in jail, they saw a golden, glowing light next to them, and, to their surprise, It was the golden toaster. They had finally found the object that they had been looking for all along, and amazingly, the toaster said, "Hey, what are you in for?" Unable to comprehend what just occurred, James passed out. But heroically, Fluffy talked to the toaster and found out that Louise, the witch, had stolen the real toaster for herself and turned Jack into a toaster as a fake. With their dreams of finding the toaster shattered and being locked in a jail cell, James and Fluffy had all but given up hope. But moments later, Ryan the lunatic, Jordan from New Fairfield, and Colin the space trooper, who were all led by Steve, came to their rescue. Fluffy, James, and Jack were broken out, and they all went back and celebrated their freedom while mourning the loss of the toaster, which had inspired their quest.